Returning to the Mario series now with Super Mario Bros. 2. I'll be doing 3 versions of this game, so there's a lot to cover. I played this one for the first time on Super Mario All-Stars when I got my Super Nintendo for my 5th birthday. I didn't play it as much as 3, but it was different enough that I played it more than the other 2. Of course, gotta bring this up. It's a reskin of Dream Factory Heart-Pounding Panic, a game made as a collaboration between Nintendo and Fuji TV, used as a replacement for the original Super Mario Bros. 2 in Western territories because that game was too hard and not different enough from the first. That whole thing is kind of baby's first video game trivia. I still see people bringing it up as a big revelation today, despite the fact that everyone who cares enough to know this already knows. I'm not talking videos focused on this game and its story, but more videos that focus on a single subject covering a variety of games. You will always 100% hear if this game is included. And now Super Mario Bros. 2, which is actually Doki Doki Panic in Japan. Like, everyone who is going to watch that video knows, and that fact is irrelevant to the video itself. It either sounds like some weird flex for knowing it, or it's just desperately getting the video to that 10-minute mark by forcing a couple more seconds in. This sounds really petty, because it is, but I've heard it so much said the exact same way that it pisses me off from overuse. It's the fucking vuvuzela sound effect in video game trivia form, or people who won't knock it off with the nobody calling or I might have joked to you shit in the YouTube comments. You know who you are, and you're not funny. So story. Mario has a dream where he finds a door and ends up in the land of dreams, Subcon. A voice tells him that they've been invaded by some water guy and that he hates vegetables before Mario wakes up. Next day he's out on a picnic with Luigi, Peach and Toad and tells them about the dream. Nearby they find a cave that contains the very same door to Subcon, so they've got to liberate it. So we get 4 playable characters, Mario, Luigi, Toad and Peach, and I'll alternate each level, so it's Mario for World 1-1. We drop from a door in the sky, fall past the first appearances of Shy Guys in the Mario game, and go through the door. Rather than jumping on enemies to kill them, I have to either pick up vegetables on the ground or other enemies and throw them into each other. Rather pathetically, I get hit right away since I hadn't adjusted to playing with the Wii U gamepad yet. It's also where I avoid the first tweeter. These move like Shy Guys but do little hops too. There's cherries dotted around to grab, and after climbing up this vine I pull up a potion that when dropped creates a door. Through the door is subspace. I can pick up a mushroom that heals me and adds 1 to my health for the rest of the level. Any grass I pull up in subspace gives me coins. Power blocks return from the arcade Mario Bros. And when thrown take out every on-screen enemy on the ground. This is the first game that casts Mario as the all-rounder of the cast. He can jump kinda high, moves pretty quick and isn't slowed down much when picking things up. 1-up mushrooms can also be found in certain spots. Rather than being green, they just have 1-up written on them in this game. Also found in grass are bombs and shells that will slide along the ground when thrown until they hit a wall and disappear. Collecting 5 cherries also spawns a Starman, which acts the same as it did in the previous game, just without giving lives or killing loads of enemies. At the end I go through a door to enter a cave where I kill my first ninja. Up the vine and I can go left or right. Left is a shortcut, so I'm going right, which leads back outside. First bit of grass has a potion, and I place it just right to have access to another mushroom and 7 coins to get from grass. Although the time in subspace runs out after I just get 5. From there is climbing another vine. The next screen has me climbing vertically past some ninja and Shy Guys until I reach the clouds and have more vines to climb. Going up and down these vines are hoops as I have to avoid to reach the boss room. It's Birdo's first appearance in a Mario game. She's very simple. When she spits eggs, jump on them, pick them up and throw them back at her. Do it 3 times to kill her, making her drop a crystal that opens the Hawk Mouth door and ends the level. At the end of each level is a slot machine that I can use my coins on to try and earn lives. I'm not good at slots, so I just mash to get them done quicker. I do manage to get myself 1 extra life though. I'm choosing Luigi next for World 1-2. Right away we've got the first Pidgey on its flying carpet. Just have to wait for it to dive at me, jump on and throw him off. Now I control the carpet. Only for a limited time though. I just have to keep moving right, avoiding the Bezos swooping down towards me. First bit of grass when I drop has a potion, getting me a mushroom. Health resets to 2 at the beginning of every level. Luigi has the highest jump in the game, but he's slightly slower than Mario. This is also the very first game to not have him as a palette swap of Mario. There are these vases I can enter, the first one getting me a 1-up mushroom, second has a key. Picking it up activates one of the Phanto in here and it chases me until I put the key down. I use it to go through this door into a cave. In here we get our first Sniffit, a Shy Guy variant that fires cannonballs out of its mouth. Past it are some bombs that pull from the ground to blow open some walls. I climb up the ladder and blow open the one at the end before pulling a potion and going through the new gap in subspace for the second mushroom. I then leave through the other side and jump up on top of the hill to pull up another potion. I bring it back to the exit so I can pull up even more coins. A little further is a door leading to another Birdo. Birdo is the reason I almost never play as Luigi outside of recording for this video. His floaty jumps make it a pain to land on the eggs. I deal with this one quickly though and finish the level. I start the slot with 5 extra lives and end it with 9. Next I choose Toad for World 1-3. Toad has the lowest jumping height, but the fastest running speed and isn't slowed down when holding something. This is also the first time Toad was ever playable. New enemy here, Trouters jump up from waterfalls, but since they can be used as platforms, they aren't as dangerous as Cheep Cheeps from the previous game. While jumping across all these logs on waterfalls, I also pull up a clock that freezes the enemies in place for a few seconds. I also end up wasting the second potion I pull up, sticking myself with 2 health for the rest of the level. I go a little further and enter a building. Can go up or down, but I need to go up first. This is where I meet the first of an enemy I really hate, the Spark. They travel along the edges of the platforms I'm currently on. They're not much of the problem now, but later on I'll be getting sick of them. To get higher as Toad, I have to stack a few blocks and charge at my jump by crouching a little first. At the top is a door with a key guarded by Phantos. I take it and make my way down to the bottom of the previous room to unlock the door. The next screen is me mostly jumping across platforms covered in sparks until I reach an unguarded crystal that opens a hawk mouth to the first proper boss, Mouser. First I have to bomb through the wall to get to him. Mouser throws bombs and you just have to pick them up, throw them back and hope he gets caught in the explosion. Just hit him 3 times and he dies, leaving a door that ends the level. No coins picked up, so no slot. Next we had the first playable appearance of Peach for World 2-1. This game begins the trend of the second world in the Mario game being desert themed. Right away I get hit by the first Cobra that jumps out of the sand. Some run back and forth, others stay in pipes and fire cannonballs. Peach is the beginner character. She's the slowest character in both running speed and picking up objects, but makes up for it for being able to float for a while when she jumps. She was the first character I ever beat the game with. Not far in is a potion that gets me a mushroom. After a run and float over some cacti and quicksand, I run into my first Panzer. They hang in one spot spitting out fireballs. I just run under it and keep floating to the next door in this pyramid. In the air I have to keep pulling at sand to dig my way to the bottom. Can't stay in one spot because there are shy guys walking around, and staying in one spot will guarantee one dropping on you from above. Once you get to the bottom, there's a ladder leading to a door that takes me to the next Birdo. A detail only in the NES version of this game is that you can see Birdo holding the crystal in front of the stomach. That's gone in all future versions. This fight is the same as the last 2 when I finish the level. With my 3 tries in the slots, I win 2 more lives. Back to Mario for World 2-2. We start underground still, but not long before we're back outside. I have started to get a little tired myself of deserts being the second world so often, especially in the new Super Mario Bros. Games where they're given the dullest music of any level type. It's not so bad in these old ones because they keep the same catchy theme all levels have. A little in I find the first potion and get a mushroom. A little further there's a door into a cave with a wall I can blow up with bombs picked up nearby. There's also a 1-up mushroom here. Through the wall is another potion leading to the second mushroom of the level. Following this is many more vases containing Cobras. This is also where we get the first appearance of Pokey. Taking out his top segment leads to the head transitioning down to the next segment, until it's gone completely, or you should hit his bottom segment first. At the end of this screen is a vine leading back underground with more sand to dig through. Not much different from the first time. It's a little harder though since there's a Sniffy jumping up while firing. At the bottom is a door leading to our first red Birdo. The difference with these is that while they still spit eggs, they also spit fireballs. Just got to be able to think quick enough to not jump onto a fireball expecting an egg. There are 3 mushroom blocks around too if playing the guessing game is too stressful. 3 hits as usual to kill it and get the crystal. I get 1 more life from the slots. Back to Luigi for World 2-3. Right away I climb a ladder to get back outside. The first bit of grass I pull gets me a potion, but this time the mushroom isn't actually close to where I find it. A little further is a hill with a door that would be a struggle for the other characters, but Luigi's charged jump can get up there. In here is a potion, but I end up going through most of the grass trying to find it, so I miss out on loads of coins. It does get me a mushroom at least. What follows is mostly avoiding Bezos until I can enter another pyramid. I drop down to the door to see some Phantos and a locked door. There's some sand below me, so it's back to digging. At the bottom is a door leading to the key. Avoiding the Phanto is rather easy going back up to the door. I don't even have to put it down once to make it go away for a bit. The door leads to a short room with a few enemies to avoid and the crystal at the end. Of course I get hit twice by the same Cobra just trying to jump over it to the crystal. This time the boss is Triclide, who gets me my first death in seconds. Triclide spits out a stream of fireballs constantly. There are 6 mushroom blocks here and I use the first 4 to build a wall to block his fireballs. Then I screw up throwing the 5th at him and just drop it. After that I just get the 3 hits it takes to kill him and finish this world. I gain 2 lives from the slots. I choose Toad for World 3-1. First thing is go forward a little to enter a door leading to a waterfall with a load of cloud platforms. In the original Doki Doki Panic, this screen would be blinding since the animation on the waterfall would be many times faster, so you just have this flashing white light take up most of the screen. Eventually I reach the top of the waterfall where there's a Pidgeot to hijack a carpet from and keep riding up, dodging Bezos until I reach a vine to climb. Up here is a grey panther that shoots fireballs more frequently. Just past it is a potion that gets me a mushroom. After going across more clouds I reach what I guess is a mountain where I can find another potion, but it doesn't get me anything. You don't want to do this because it traps you in a tight space with a moving panther. Just past it is a door leading to another red Birdo. There are 2 mushroom blocks behind, but I didn't want to risk it with only 1 health. Instead when I pick up an egg I do it over a pit and fall in. I kill next time. No lives won in the slot. Back to Peach for World 3-2. Right away we get introduced to Ostros, which are usually ridden by Shy Guys. Here I just have to keep running right along the top half of the screen. Sadly I die picking up a power block when 2 Ostros just hang around in my space. I get it next time and get in the lower section only to be quickly killed by a Sniffit. Next time I just do it the proper way. I go all the way to the other end and blow a floor open. I then go down a ladder and have to navigate blowing up all these walls without running out of bombs to pull. Getting through leads to a ladder back outside, which then leads to another ladder back underground, which leads to another ladder back outside, which leads to another ladder back underground. Then I've got to time dropping a bomb just right to get through another wall leading to some ladders and the first Porcupore. These enemies can't be stood on due to the spikes. I blow up one of the floors here and pull up a potion. Sadly I blew up the wrong floor and can't get the mushroom. The ladder leads to a door taking me to another red birdo where I get killed by Peach's slow pickup speed getting me hit by the next egg. I kill her without getting hit next time. No coins for the slot. Mario gets to take on World 3-3. I head forward to leave the cave, pick up a potion right at the start and get a mushroom. On this screen we get introduced to Albatos who are dropping Bob-Ombs in their first appearance in a game. Back here they actually had arms. I head forward some more and go through a door. One of the first bits of grass has a potion, but it's on one of the platforms higher up and I can't reach it from where I made the door appear. So I go through the one unlocked door on the bottom and get climbing. This room also shows off the differences in some enemy colours. Pink Sniffits and Shy Guys are like the red Koopa Troopers in the last game. They'll turn around once I reach the end of the platform. Red ones are like the green Koopas and just keep walking. This door leads to a dead end, with another door higher up that I can't reach. So instead I have to backtrack to the previous room, climb the ladder and jump to another door. This leads to a room with many vases spawning Shy Guys. I just stay in the middle and jump up to the door at the top. Now the key is on an even smaller platform with a quick spark going along it. Bastard. In this room the screen wraps to the other side when you walk off it, so I just keep running left while throwing the key to keep the Phanto away from me. However, when I return to the room with the locked door I throw the key too late and the Phanto just manages to kill me. Second try, a Shy Guy just grazes me because I throw the key into a stupid spot. I get there on my third try. It leads to a room with weird plus shaped platforms and sparks to deal with. At the top I could go higher to get another mushroom, but I just go through the door instead. The other end is that same door I couldn't reach before and I can keep climbing. Or I could if I didn't let a tweeter kill me. I must have got too stressed at that to play well because I end up letting it hit me the next time too. Climbing up I have to drop into multiple chains while avoiding being hit by 2 panzers. I accidentally drop off the chain again and die. That's 4 deaths in this one level. This level is much longer than any previous one, so I still have some more climbing around sparks to do. And I get a 5th death when I jump over the platform I was aiming for and land on a spark. Next time I make it up to the door but got hit twice on the way. Next screen has me running across a bridge covered in ninja and I get a 6th death. It's actually embarrassingly easy. I make it across next time, pick up the crystal and meet the third boss, which is a mouser with slightly different colours and a spark moving around the arena. I was lucky and one of the bombs takes out the spark at one point. Other than that he's basically the same except he takes 5 hits to kill instead of 3. I was not expecting 3-3 to take over half my lives. I also get nothing on the slot. And now Luigi again for World 4-1. We're in the ice world with the slippery floor and more enemies, flurries. They only appear in these levels and will specifically aim to chase me down. Just got to keep running right and avoiding them until I reach the other side of the screen so I can pull up a potion and get a mushroom. I then drop a little and pull on grass to pick up a rocket and fly to the next screen. I never once questioned this as a child. This screen has the boss music, but there's no boss. Instead it's an enemy gauntlet. Just keep running right and jumping over them. This screen has the first auto bombs. They'll shoot fireballs while moving and are usually ridden by Shy Guys. At the end is the crystal and I needed something quick and easy after what 3-3 did to me. We're halfway through the game too. I go back to Toad for World 4-2. Right away I climb up a vine and have to cross a long ice platform while avoiding many Bezos. After a while some flurries gathered. It's not that bad and I manage it without getting hit, despite one of the last Bezos clearly touching me, but I'll take it. I then go through the door to a screen filled with whales. Not cartoony Mario whales, real life purely rectangular whales. They'll shoot water out of their blowholes and if you stand on top it will act as a platform. Touch anything else and you take damage. A potion is after the first few but the mushroom is nowhere near where I find it. Then I just miss the top of the stream of water and die. Then I don't jump high enough and fall into a pit. That's probably the worst moment of this run. I make it to the other side of the screen and ride another rocket up. Here there's a Shy Guy riding an auto bomb, but me, still in bad mistake mode, pick up a potion and then try to ride the Shy Guy across the spiked floor. I get pushed into spikes and end up wasting the potion. I do it properly by throwing off the Shy Guy and riding the auto bomb across. This leads to a door with a red birdo who I take out with little trouble. 6 coins gets me 2 more lives from the slot. And Peach is the last character to take on a boss level in World 4-3. I climb up a ladder and end up outside to be met with a pink birdo. I pick up a potion and ride one of their eggs all the way to the right side of the screen. No mushroom here but it does get me a few coins. Just past that is a door. Got to keep climbing up icy platforms while flurries run down at me from above. I get hit once but manage the rest of it fine. This door leads to the outside of a tower and puts me across the door to another. But I can also pick up a potion and climb on top of the tower. Of course I mess up while jumping and drop it nowhere near the mushroom. So instead I just go into the other tower. From here I have to ride a Shy Guy down across a couple spiked floors. This drops me in front of a door containing a key. Just got to lower the fluid to the platform so I can get to it. Next I'm running down across many more icy platforms to the locked door. This puts me on a bridge outside where I walk to another door. The room contains a crystal that grants me access to the fourth boss, Fry Guy. Fry Guy is probably the hardest boss aside from the last one to me. There are 2 mushroom blocks up top and 3 along the bottom, but he also quickly flies along the screen spitting fire along the bottom and I can't take another hit. I get 1 hit in before he kills me. I do even worse next time. The strategy is to pick up a block, get on top and wait for him to fly across the gap in the middle and drop it on him. After 3 hits he splits into 4 smaller parts that jump around. Thanks to the layout I happen to drop the blocks, they get stuck in one spot and I can crush them all at once. Then my 5 coins get me nothing on the slot. I choose Mario for World 5-1. Here I just have to deal with a panzer to drop lower and reach a door. Right away there's a potion, but the mushroom isn't anywhere near it. I do get a few coins though. This cave is mostly waterfall, jumping across logs and avoiding trouters. Then it gets a bit tough when I have to jump across only trouters. First time I mess up by pressing the run button after landing on one, picking it up and dropping me in a pit. Lets me get more coins at least. It's quite nerve-wracking actually because jumping off the trouter will put you off screen and left me not very confident that I could make sure I land on the next in time. On the second set of 3 trouters, I miss the last one and die. I get past it next time and thankfully there's a 1-up mushroom and a potion. I dropped the potion far too early and waste it. But there's another right after the last couple of logs. I can't get the mushroom though because there's a mushroom block keeping it from me. Through the door is the first grey birdo. These ones only shoot fireballs and no eggs, so I have to use what's around me. And what's around me here is a single mushroom block. It means when I hit her, the block is close to her when I go to pick it up and I die after getting 2 hits in. I get her next time and with my 11 coins I get just 2 more lives. Luigi gets World 5-2. Climb a ladder outside and there are a few hoopsters going up trees to avoid. After making it past the second set, I enter a vase where I can bomb through the floor to find a potion. This is where I learned that dropping a potion inside a vase does nothing but waste it. Have some more hoopsters or the thin platforms to jump across, including 2 with a panzer between them. At the end of the screen is a vine to the next. Here I have to avoid Sniffit Fire and swap between 2 vines to avoid being killed by more hoopsters. This leads to a door that takes me to a bridge with a power block in the middle. I have a long fall where I have to both avoid spikes and make sure I don't land in the pit at the bottom. The door there leads to a red birdo. There's also a trouter just hanging around in the middle of the bridge just to be a pain. I kill it on the first try but it takes forever thanks to my eggs either hitting the constantly respawning trouter or birdo just managing to block it with another. No coins for the slot. Toad gets to be the first to try a second boss level with World 5-3. Once again I climb a ladder outside where the sky is filled with many albatross dropping bombs around me. This time the first potion actually gives me the mushroom when I plant the door where I found it. Then I get stupidly hung up on this one bit of grass and die trying to get to it. Next time I make it to the other side of the screen by just ignoring everything and running right. It leads to a room underground where unblocking this vase creates endlessly spawning Bob-Ombs. I die not paying attention and running into one. This room has a load of walls and floors you can blow up, but the best thing to do is just keep running forward, jumping over everything until you reach the door. I hate this room. There are many little segments separated by mushroom blocks and most of them have a spark in there too. Once I make it to the bottom I have to start climbing up the other side, the platforms also having sparks on them. This is why I hate them. In the end I miss a little hole off to the side and fall into the side of the Bob-Omb, losing my last life. I still have 2 continues, but using them does put me back to the beginning of this world, where I game over again back on World 5-1. Problem was I accidentally picked Toad again, and in the NES version of this game, once you choose a character, you are locked into that character until you finish the level, and Toad isn't the best choice for this one. On my next continue I make it back to 5-3 with 6 extra lives thanks to the slot, and I lose one of them trying to open that first door I made. Fun thing that happened on the next try was that I got a Starman before going to subspace, and since it hadn't yet worn off when I left, the Super Mario Bros. Ground theme stayed playing until I got to the next screen. I then die skidding into the Panzer, but on my next life I make it past where I got the game over and keep climbing up, only for a walking Panzer to snipe me while I'm off screen. There's one more going further up but I trick it into dropping between 2 platforms before I reach the door at the top. What we have now is another enemy gauntlet like in World 4. I steal a Pidgeot's carpet and ride it over a pit until I steal another. But when jumping over a Shy Guy I fail to land back on it and die again. Next time I reach the red birdo at the end but die when I discover I can't crouch under eggs. I kill the birdo next time with full health and meet the 5th boss, Claw Grip. The timing can be a bit tricky if you're not used to it since the rocks do travel fast, as shown when I keep landing under the sides of rocks and die. Of course it's only on my last life I do the fight almost flawlessly and get all 5 hits in without taking damage. I managed to get 1 more life back from the slots. Then I ruined my character rotation by pressing A too quick and choosing Toad again for World 6-1. It's another desert, and it's a bastard. We've got quicksand and cobrats all over the place. There's a potion hidden between a lot of cacti but the mushroom isn't nearby. Then I fuck up jumping between 2 pokies. Only the charged jump can get towed out and I don't have the time to charge it. And I then lose my last life right after when a panzer gets me. Game over, out of continues, have to start the game again from the beginning. There is a way to quickly get back though. On World 1-3, get the first potion and take it all the way to the vase on the other end of the screen. Enter subspace, then enter the vase to get warped to World 4-1. Then in World 4-2, get the potion on the whale screen and take it to the vase there and do the same thing for a warp back to World 6-1. Since I used Peach to get there, I skipped her in the order and went back to Mario. First I die exiting a vase when a Cobra shoots me right away. Then I fall in a small gap of quicksand with another Cobra in it and die again. And then when I think I'm safe standing on a platform out of reach, one brushes me with its nose and I die again. I normally don't have this much trouble with this level. I get past the panzer next time and finally make it to the door at the other end. This is a room filled with vases and as soon as I pick up a mushroom block on top of one, a Cobra jumps out mid-animation and I die. I make up for it a little by finding a 1-up in one of the other vases at least. I need a key which is in the vase 5th from the right. I have to dig for it though and die when a shy guy in the row higher stands on my hat. Next time I get the key and go through the door. Now I have a green birder which functions identically to the grey one. Got 3 mushroom blocks to use with this one and I take her out. No coins for the slot again. Luigi gets World 6 too. This level is much easier. I go outside and have to ride an albatross to the other side, making sure to jump up on platforms when I need to. There's a panzer on the way which is a bit of a bastard, but otherwise this is simple and I get to the door leading to another green birdo. This one only has 2 mushroom blocks to throw at it, but one is on the platform above so you basically have a free shot. Doesn't stop me dying though and losing my first continue. I get back with all my lives next time and accidentally choose Peach for 6-2. I hit the birdo twice but accidentally jump into a fireball I'd just dodged. I kill her next time though. Then because I was mashing A through the slot I wound up choosing her again for World 6-3. Right after climbing the ladder outside there's another potion. I take it a fair bit further before putting it down this time to find there's nothing there. A few steps to the right is a huge door into a cave, and while trying to grab a cherry, I nudge myself off a ladder and into a Bob-Omb's face to my death. As usual, my strategy for a room with vases spawning endless Bob-Ombs is to just keep running and jump over it. There's a couple of walls to blow through, but if you aren't actually letting yourself get killed, it's easy. At the end of the room is a vine leading to a screen with more vines. Just gotta keep climbing and avoiding hoopsters as I leave the desert behind and go into the clouds. Interesting that the end games of both the Japanese and international Super Mario Bros. 2 have you going up into the sky just before the end. When I reach the top, I end up on another screen with a pyramid for me to enter. Inside is another red birdo and just one mushroom block to use against her. It's here after 23 years of playing this game that I discover that birdo eggs that hit the wall and fall below can still kill me. Game over again, back to 6-1. I get right back up there and kill her. The Hawkmouth door leads to boss 6, a second tri-glide. I have 7 mushroom blocks to use so I do the same thing as last time. Die while walling up. Next time I just wall up smarter so he can't hit me at all and take him out. Unlike the second Mouser, he doesn't have more health this time. After all this accidental Peach usage, I've barred myself from using her to beat the game, so I choose Mario for World 7-1. I climb up a ladder, ignore the entire rest of that screen to the right and jump onto an albatross. I ride to the left end of the screen to find a rocket to ride to the next screen. I've hated this screen for years. First there's a little cloud maze with the infinitely spawning Shy Guys where you have to move at a snail's pace and any other strategy as you see here gets me hit. Then having to jump past Sniffit Fire and a Ninja at the end, I die. I only get past it next time because for some reason the Ninja didn't spawn. I can then climb the ladder at the end. This is followed up with jumping up through the clouds and climbing ladders with sparks all over the place. Worse is the one where you need to pull up a mushroom block and need perfect timing, otherwise you release another spark box inside and you die. Game over again, back to the beginning. I don't want to do World 6 again, so instead I play normally up to World 3-1. On the screen with the giant waterfall I drop into what looks like a pit, but actually leads to a door at the bottom. In here is a potion and a vase I can use to warp to World 5. Right at the beginning of World 5-3, I use Luigi's charged jump to reach this grass containing a potion and then use it with another vase to get to World 7. It's a tough choice. I skip World 6 but I still have to accomplish 2 full worlds and get to World 5-3 without losing all my lives. I think I'm so lucky when I get the Starman in the little cloud maze, but it runs out just before I can jump into the Ninja. I die while trying to inch myself further away from it. Next time it doesn't spawn, but a Shy Guy does a little earlier. Doesn't matter because the Sniffit shoots me just before I can jump for the ladder. I get back onto the spark screen next time. I manage to take a mushroom block without dying, but while trying to kill the other spark with it, I end up boxing that one in and being in the exact same situation. Then I jump bad and die. Next time I don't even know what I was doing. You know, you just get one of those situations where you're so fed up with a section you end up making the stupidest of mistakes. That's one continue lost. Next time I pick Luigi but still die in the cloud maze once. Luigi's the best choice for this level because you don't have to deal with that spark bullshit. His charged jump will just get you to the ladders. But it's just a simple climb up to the door leading to a grey birdo. Just one block to use against it and after one hit the selfish bitch hogs the space my block landed so I can't do shit until she budges. I get the second hit in but Luigi's floatiness lets her snipe me before I can land on the block for the third. Then I hit her twice but miss the block and get shot point blank. another continue lost. I get back there with Peach, since this isn't the last level yet, and kill her. Mario now has 2 lives and no continues for World 7-2, the final level. I take out a couple sniffets and cross the drawbridge into Wart's castle. I have a few conveyors to cross, some with infinitely spawning enemies. There's a chain leading lower down, but I don't want to deal with the panzer on the way, so I try to take the shortcut and end up killing myself against the Bob-Omb. For my last life, I get hit by a shy guy before it was even out of its vase, but I jump into the side of a ninja and lose all my progress for a 4th time. You know, there was actually a lore reason in Doki Doki Panic for having World 7 be only 2 levels. Each level was a page of a book with Wart, or rather Mamu, as the villain. However, 2 kids tore out the page where Mamu would be defeated, leading to him becoming more powerful. That page they tore out would be the equivalent to World 7-3. It wasn't something I ever thought about. Final levels just sometimes not follow the rules, and I thought this was just another one of those cases. I wasn't expecting there to have been an actual story reason that got lost in the rebranding. And wasn't that a more interesting bit of trivia than just repeating, Mario 2 is actually Doki Doki Panic for the 1000th time? 26 minutes of replay later and I've made it back to 7-1, making sure to get every 1-up I remember and as many coins as I can for the slot. Now I have 19 lives plus both continues to World 7. I only lose 1 life on my way back to 7-2 as well. I managed to make that shortcut I was trying for, if only by exploiting my post-damage invincibility. The chain leads to my own personal hell, a room with nothing but mushroom blocks and sparks. Actually, this isn't that bad. You just have to be patient and wait for a good time to pull up the block to drop deeper. I mean, I died once because I'm a fucking idiot, but it's really not that bad. In fact, the best way to do it is to just run to the right side and mash B. That gets you down to the door. I can't do too well though and just walk into a spark and die. All those lives have made me careless. Once again, it's another actually easy part. I go through the door halfway through. It takes me to a room with a potion and a very easy mushroom. I then go back to the previous room and go through another door to the right. Got some chains to avoid while dealing with more goddamn sparks. See why I'm sick of them yet? They're actually the only enemy in this game that didn't debut in Doki Doki Panic. They were in Donkey Kong Jr. before that. The Starman and Power Block were also in the original too, and the game's engine was designed with Mario in mind before they got the Fuji TV license. So it's not like this game had nothing to do with Mario before the rebranding, as some self-proclaimed hardcore true bestest fans like to shout. 27 minutes into the video was the best time to bring that fact up, wasn't it? Not like you were missing much. Chain and Spark Room led to another Chain and Spark Room. After that I'm climbing up a room where every platform is a conveyor. Sparks are still present, but there's actually other enemies around too. Okay, there's 2 enemies each at the bottom and top and the rest of it is all sparks, but it's something. At the top I climb a chain up to another conveyor with a red birdo on it. She hits me once, so I just phase through her and climb up to the next screen. This next screen has the boss music, but instead of going right, I just super jump onto the conveyor above and go through the door on the left. And it's more sparks, but this time I'm going down the screen. Then halfway down I climb up on the other side to another door. This takes me outside. I go down a series of ladders and get killed by a panzer. I avoid damage next time and drop to the bottom, going through another door. This room has another potion, so I can get the first second mushroom I've had in ages. Returning a couple screens and going down reveals I've done a full lap of the castle, so I then backtrack to the room with the boss music, dying on the way. This time I stick on the bottom side of the screen and find a locked door. I get killed by another spark right in front of a non-locked door. Next time I go through the door only to be greeted with an egg in my face. There's a red birdo holding the key I need, so I kill her and get that door unlocked. There's a crystal here and 2 mushroom blocks. I bring them close to the crystal because I know what's coming. I grab the crystal and Hawkmouth comes off the wall and starts flying at me. I first saw this watching my uncle beat the game when I was about 6, and this made me jump first time. Yeah, they have kind of a threatening look, but you're trained to see them as the end of a level, a good thing. Hit it 3 times and it opens its mouth, taking me to the final boss, Wart. He kills me with his first attack. 12 lives left. Wart's only attack is to spit out a stream of bubbles. I have to avoid them and watch this machine that spits out vegetables. I then have to time my throw so that I can get it in his mouth without it hitting the bubble. I don't get a single hit in before he kills me. It's been 5 or 6 years since I last played the game, and every time I get to Wart I always struggle with relearning how to deal with the bubbles. On my 3rd try I lose half my health before I get the first out of 6 hits in. Then I take another hit the same time I get the 3rd hit in. His next attack kills me. But on my 4th try, Mario goes through the door and opens up another vase, freeing the people of Subcon. I then get told how many times each character got used that run while they cart off Wart's body. Luigi's mouth makes it look like he has a soul patch, by the way. It's then revealed that the entire game was another of Mario's dreams. He wakes up for a second and blinks Peach's contributions out of existence before dropping off again seconds later. We then get the character showcase. Some of these have mistakes. Hoopster is spelled Hoopstar, Triclide is spelled Triclide, Claw Grip is called Claw Grip, and Ostro and Birdo had their names swapped. Super Mario Bros. 2 isn't as good as the first Super Mario Bros. To me, but that's not a knock in any way. It isn't as good as the game currently ranked 4th out of 52 isn't a damning review. It's still going to end up ranked in the upper half. It is different, but that's not a bad thing at all if the game is still enjoyable, which it is. People get way too caught up in defining whether or not it's a real Mario game that they forget to look at the actual quality of the game itself. It does have moments that frustrate me more than it would in another Mario game, mainly how hard it is to gain health and having 2 desert worlds out of 7, but it's still a great time and it was nice to finally beat the NES version, which was the only one I hadn't finished before now. But of course that was just one of 3 versions. Next is the Super Mario All-Stars version, the first one I played and the one I'm the most familiar with. This one will get the least amount of attention because I'm mainly just talking about changes. Of course it got the same treatment the first game did, upgraded graphics and music, a world select option and save feature, starting with 5 lives instead of 3. I'll start with the music because it's quicker. Every track is an improvement of the NES, with the one exception to me being the ending theme, which I think sounds better on NES. All the levels now have actual backgrounds instead of just one colour, and there were some enemy colour changes. For example, the Pidgeots, Pink Shy Guys and Sniffits became blue, and Ninja became purple. There were some details lost however. World 5-1 had a unique colour scheme, but now all caves shared the same background. And speaking of 5-1, all grey Birdos are now green. Birdos now no longer carry the crystal in their sprites, instead they get to wear a bow. I also think World 4 loses something without its purple tinted sky, but for the most part it's a definite improvement. Toad and Peach now had their proper colour schemes too. This version was made back in the days when Luigi still had purple overalls, and I've always preferred that colour scheme for him. Wish they kept this instead of reverting them back to blue. One change I quite like is the boss arenas being made of Lego. Well, more likely Nintendo's old blatant Lego rip-off from the 60s. It's one of the sights I just remember the most about the game. Another good one is the giant Phanto in the back of every Phanto room, whose eyes light up when you grab the key. My favourite change is that you aren't locked into the character you first choose for a level. When you die, you have the option to choose another character. There's not much else to say without recapping the entire game again. I did much better this time and didn't get a single game over. Toad gets to be the one to defeat Wart this time. I like Wart and I hope he actually gets to show up again, even if it's just in a spin-off. It's taken me until now to realise that those white triangles on the end of the Subcom people's arms are hands and they're clapping. For years I've just seen them as knives and not questioned it. This time I almost had an equal amount of levels beat as all characters, but Toad had one more than Mario. The Sleeping Mario is in full colour this time instead of all blue, and the character list has the same mistakes as in the NES version. As I said before, All Stars will only be added to the game's Conquered counter when I've done all 4 games on it. This is still the version of the game I tend to come back to if I ever play it. Maybe because I've had access to this version nearly a decade before any other, but when I think of Super Mario Bros. 2, it's the All Stars version. And finally, there's Super Mario Advance. First off, apologies for how bright this looks. I tried everything I could for a Game Boy Player recording to come out good, but this was the best I could get. I could have downloaded the Wii U Virtual Console version, but didn't. I never got to play this version until over a decade after it came out, in either 2014 or 2015. Almost all the GBA Mario games had the same remake of the original Mario Bros. On them, but I'm not talking about that here. A lot of things have changed here. For one, the character select screen is completely redone, showing character stats. There's also now a level checklist. There are some minor layout changes to the levels, but the biggest thing you'll notice when starting is the giant Shy Guy and giant vegetables. There are a lot of these, and throwing them will grant you a heart. Hearts are much easier to come by now. Just by killing an enemy you get one. They can also be found in grass now. Some hills will also have giant carrots come from underneath if you step on them to lift you up higher. There are new sprites for the playable characters too, for entering doors, and the charged jump is now changed to look like a backflip. One change that many aren't fond of is the addition of voice clips to the characters. I don't mind it much, but it does get annoying when all characters shout "lucky" after every cherry you pick up. All the bosses have a little voice line for when you meet them too, if you really wanted to know what Wart sounds like in real life. The vase interiors have been redesigned to be more colourful, and they have their own new music rather than sharing the underground theme. And it's one of my least favourite tracks in the entire series. The rest of the music came over from All Stars fine, but doesn't sound quite as good. There's new music for the new menus too, and one for the boss rooms before the fight where the boss actually starts. They're alright. One last change I want to bring up before the big stuff is that the shells no longer disappear when they hit a wall. They bounce like in other games. They also build up points and then a 1-up too. So this spot in World 5-3 is a good one for farming lives. One huge change is an entirely new boss. Rather than a second Mouser, the World 3 boss is Roberto. It will pound the ground and stun you if you don't jump in time before charging forward. It will then spit out a giant egg I have to throw back at it, and then the pattern repeats. This is a cool addition, but despite that, this game is Roberto's only appearance. The second Mouser instead appears as the boss of World 6, replacing the second Triclide. The biggest change is the addition of collectibles. There are 5 ace coins hidden in every level. Collecting all in a single playthrough rewards an extra life, which are pointless because the game now saves on every level rather than every world. The game keeps track of your percentage of ace coins though, so I have to get them all. I've already described every level once on the NES, so here's a quick clip show of where they are. And Luigi gets to be the one to take out Wart this time. I was hoping for an even spread of being levels, but some ace coins were just much easier to get with Luigi. This time all the mistakes in the character list are fixed. Starting the game again on a beaten file starts the Yoshi challenge. There are 2 Yoshi eggs hidden in each level that can only be found by entering subspace at certain points. If all the extra hearts and ways to get them made this version too easy for you, then this should make up for it. For one, all mushrooms are removed from subspace. You have a maximum health of 2 and that's it. Second, eggs are not checkpointed, so you must beat the entire level with the eggs on one file. Not too bad early on, but doing the final level with just 2 health and no checkpoints is a nightmare. Once again, I'll just give you a clip show since there's nothing else left to say. That's also beating Wart with all 4 characters. Strangely enough, watching it back, it turns out it was 7-1 that took the longest to beat at around half an hour. Super Mario Advance is so different with the easy difficulty and layout changes that I can't call it a straight upgrade. I do like it more than the NES version, but I don't know how I compare it to All Stars. Good thing I'm not ranking the All Stars game separately. I would actually like to do the original Doki Doki Panic someday. From what I've seen, it is a slightly different experience. But if I had to recommend the version, I'd say try Advance first, and if you really get into it, go back to one of the earlier versions and see which you like more.